webinars, but today's topic will be about the basics and the most frequent question I get lately: how to start. Cryptocurrency and blockchain are going mainstream, and thus everyone who is not there yet is willing to understand how to implement this new innovation into the business, how to start, how to learn. And so here with us today, we have amazing real estate leaders that are also passionate about blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and they will help me to navigate newcomers in the space. Welcome, Nina and Jerry. Could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Natalia. It's a pleasure to be here, and I work for Home Services of America, and I oversee their partnership program. So think of anything that, any product or service that our real estate agents need in order to run their business comes in through my department. And I've been in the real estate industry for about, 18 years. Owned the brokerage, bought and sold properties, and then joined Home Services a few years back.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Jerry. Oh, Jerry, we cannot hear you. Are you muted? I don't see you're muted. And we heard you a couple minutes ago. We cannot hear you still. Maybe join and rejoin, Jerry. Maybe this will help, because I don't see you being muted. Okay, and while Jerry is fixing his audio, Nina, we know each other for now many years, I would say. A very good friend of ours, Alex Teo, introduced us, and we've met at Inman events. I hope, guys, you don't hear the thunderstorm. I just moved to Miami and met Nina a couple times here in person. And this is where this meeting sparked so many blockchain-related conversations. And I really wanted you to hear her perspective. So Nina, could you please share, like, what made this interest spark in you?
I guess it all started when I started seeing, I'm a regular viewer of Bloomberg and CNBC, right? I follow the stock market. I have an investment portfolio. And this started a couple of years ago, but I didn't really start paying attention to it until about 2 years ago, when I started seeing Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies being added to the ticker tape, right, of CNBC and Bloomberg. And that's when I was like, this is interesting. And then, we had our meeting through Alex, and you just opened up my eyes about the potential of blockchain and how it could potentially change the way that smart contracts are managed within real estate, as well as how blockchain could improve the real estate transaction and really make it much more seamless and efficient.
Awesome. And before we get into blockchain and smart contracts and NFT applications, because I know now this is the new hot topic, many agents, many people are willing to understand how this NFT work, why people buy them, how they relate to real estate. But before we get there, let's give some tips and advices to realtors or even non-realtors, people who are willing to get there, but they're still afraid. What kind of fears you feel from other people that are willing to be there, but still don't make the necessary steps?
I think the primary fear is just the fear of the unknown, right? Anything that's brand new is always something that's feared on. Within the real estate industry, I don't think that people fully understand the capabilities of, what you're doing and smart contracts and blockchain. I really like the fact that you're now coming out with, this certification for agents. And we want to help you promote that throughout the real estate industry, because I think it's helpful to educate not only real estate agents, but brokers about the benefits of blockchain and cryptocurrency.
Absolutely. And actually, I think it will be helpful because you just mentioned this crypto certification course for agents, which is a 6 sessions course, practical course, and then there's a test in the end. But I think it's important to mention 3 main applications of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. And this is, first of all, just transacting in cryptocurrency. You own Bitcoin, you want to buy a house. How do you transact? How to find the right solutions to actually do this transaction? How to communicate to buyers and sellers in crypto? That's the first one, just crypto payment. The second one is smart contracts and NFTs for the transaction itself. We'll talk about that later. Hopefully, Jerry will be back and we'll discuss this together. And finally, tokenization, where people can buy fractions of homes in a form of tokens. I don't know if we'll have time to discuss that today, but these are the main 3 applications of blockchain and crypto in the space. And I really want to get into the first one, cryptocurrency usage, how another agents and any leader in any industry are capable to talk to a crypto investor the same language. They first have to actually own cryptocurrency, own some coins, so that they just speak the same language. What would be your advice in this regards? Where to start?
I say, well, I use Coinbase, and I like Coinbase. And I also have joined a couple of different crypto chat groups on Clubhouse. And there's also, there's a great site that I use now to kind of just educate myself about what's happening with crypto and where the movement is going. It's called, oh geez, where is it?
That's a Coin Telegraph? Or another one?
Coin Market Cap.
Coin
I
Market.
recommend that site. Yeah. That helps you understand, there's 11,680 cryptocurrencies out there today, right? 405 exchanges. And then the market cap is 2.3 billion, right? And so I didn't learn that. Trillion.
Trillion, yes.
Trillion.
But just
sorry,
3-4 years ago, that was a
crypto.
Couple billions. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that until I started doing some research through sites like CoinMarketCap, right?
Yeah.
I think those would be the first steps, right? And like you said, so invest $50, right, in Coinbase.
First one, get Coinbase or any other wallet, but Coinbase, it's easy. It's based here in America. You can quickly connect your bank account to Coinbase, buy $50. I think that's the main myth and fear today. Many beginners think that you have to buy a whole Bitcoin and invest $40,000, and that it's too late, so they're not going to buy. But you can actually just buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of those 11,000 crypto coins and just spend $50. And that's more as not an investment, but I would say it's a learning cycle just to get there and start learning. And then you mentioned Clubhouse. Are there any specific rooms that you recommend?
I'd have to look for them, but I can certainly send you some that we can include within, the information on the webinar.
Yeah, we can do
nothing specific. I think it just depends on what you're looking for, right? Some focus on NFTs, some focus on tokenization, some focus on smart contracts. I kind of just signed up to, all of them and just trying to filter out which ones I really like and which ones I don't want.
Fantastic.
But you're diving in there is the first step, right? And like you said, the misconception is that you have to buy a whole Bitcoin, right? You have to go ahead and invest. Today was at $46,000, right? Dollars for a Bitcoin. Yeah. And that's not the case at all. You can buy a percentage within a Bitcoin and just get started, right? And kind of just learn the trends and get involved and just, dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to learn about what's going on in the industry and some applications, one website I would recommend is Cointelegraph. It's available on Telegraph. There are a lot of visuals there, or even Instagram, and just a website. CoinDesk, another media, more technical, more professional, but both of them have amazing articles which are very high level so that people can understand application use cases. And then finally, if you want to see specific numbers and graphs and how coins are doing, what are the prices, as Nina mentioned, that's the coin market cap. Awesome. So what was the latest interesting thing, Nina, that you learned about the space?
Well, the big news was yesterday, El Salvador, right, is now using Bitcoin as a currency, their country currency, right? And so they had that launch yesterday, and it was about, they bought about $250 million worth of Bitcoin. So that was the big news. I don't think that the implementation of the Bitcoin went very well, because according to news sources, the people, the local merchants were not educated or prepared for that, which is too bad, because I mean, it's a great example of the way that countries can utilize Bitcoin, right? Yeah. So hopefully they can go through resolve those issues, right? And really start empowering the people, right? Because countries, like El Salvador, many countries throughout the world have a currency that's just been devalued so much that it really doesn't have value, right? And so with Bitcoin, they do have value, and it doesn't matter where their currency is, right? They can still use Bitcoin in order to do business and have something of value to exchange services and products.
Absolutely. And I think that's probably what's worth it to mention to our real estate community, why Bitcoin matters if you still are not aware of this. And this is that the coin is decentralized. It's not governed by a government. The supply is limited to 21 million coins, and they will not be issued anymore. Satoshi Nakamoto, who invented the protocol, it's an anonymous person. He has never touched his wallet since 2012, and thus there is no ability for some third party to impact the supply side of the coin or the protocol that has been live now for 10 years. It has never been hacked. And another example is Ethereum. And there are many others, but for beginners, it's really important to understand that there are a number of coins, and they all run on different blockchains. So there are different blockchains, different types of blockchain as well. And this is what we teach on our crypto certified agent course. We teach really how to differentiate, how to talk the blockchain language, the crypto language. And now we have a number of guests. So please ask your questions if you have any in the chat or on Facebook and LinkedIn. Please leave a comment for us, leave a question, and our team will make sure to tell us your questions, and we'll go to the question a bit later. Team, do we have the news from our speaker, Jerry? Is he back?
No, unfortunately, Jerry couldn't connect. I suppose that there's some technical difficulties on his end.
I see. Well, thank you, but if you could please email him again if he solves his issue, to absolutely join us and not to be sad to just jump on the call here anytime. So we have some questions from Facebook about Propy, whether Propy is considering to join Flare Network. Yes, we're in discussion with Flare Network, but we don't have news just yet, but we are in discussion. If you guys have other questions, please let us know. So Nina, let's chat about applications of blockchain, NFTs, and smart contracts in real estate. What amazes you the most?
I really like the idea of the smart contracts and how it could simplify the real estate closing transaction. Right now, you have a very lengthy, inefficient process, right? The 12 steps of real estate closings, right? With escrow accounts, title searches, you hire an attorney depending on the state, you negotiate the closing costs. I mean, there's so many parties that are involved, right? From an agent, sales agent, escrow agent, buyer, seller, lawyer, title company. I mean, it's just endless, right?
Yeah.
And think about, you have, at least 9 to 15 players trying to close this one property, right? And it's, different time zones, different work ethic, different, different abilities, right?
And it's
what
9 to 12 participants that are visible to the consumer, but actually there are some researchers that there are about 20 people touching one transaction.
So imagine
80.
With a smart contract and with a blockchain, you can minimize that, right? And make it a much more efficient and seamless process. And what's interesting, it takes 45 on average, it takes 45 days for a property close. And you and I were talking about the NFT that you did. How long did that take to close?
Just a couple of minutes.
Okay, so that gets me excited. Imagine how many more transactions we could make happen. I mean, on average, in 2019, there was 5.5 million homes that were bought and sold, right? In 2021, or in 2019, 5.5. 2020 was about 6 million, just because of what happened with COVID. And, it's just not a normal year, right? So on average, it's 5.5 million. But imagine if you could close a transaction, like you said, within a week. Yeah. Imagine how that would change the volume of transactions being done. And imagine if you could do transactions not only within a state, but globally with blockchains and smart contracts. That excites me. I think that right now, the way that real estate is, it's a very localized system, right? With many players, which delays the process, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas the potential for blockchain and smart contracts and tokenizations of real estate assets could be globalized, right? And could be, the consumer could have much more input and power where they invest. Mm-hmm. And they're not stuck with just, the same thing that's been happening in the real estate industry for the last 150 years.
Absolutely. And why do you think, if we make this process so seamless with smart contracts and NFTs, what would be the benefit for agents and consumers?
Well, I think for the agents, you have the ability to do much more business, right? Mm-hmm. And for the consumer, it's just, buying a home is a very stressful process, mm-hmm. right? It's probably, if you ask, if you did a survey, you probably find that, the closing process of a home is probably one of the most stressful periods of anyone's life. Yeah. And so I do believe that blockchain can help mediate that issue and allow it to be a lot less stressful and less time consuming and inefficient.
Absolutely agree with you. Let me elaborate a little bit on the NFT side, because we get these questions very often. Why and how we did the NFT? Everyone who is listening, we had the NFT webinars 2 months ago. So go to propy.com, scroll down, and there are all our webinars. There are 2 or 3 webinars that are dedicated. So we did the webinar just before the NFT, just announcing the plan that we're gonna make this NFT. We didn't know how it will go. Apparently it was a great success. Then we had a discussion that we executed that, what it means for the community, what it means for agents, for consumers. But right now, I just want to remind you, or for those who haven't heard, we were able to NFT a home ownership. and we transferred home ownership from one wallet to another wallet in a form of NFT. So we did the preparation of this home when we were NFTing this property. We did the preparation, the title search, inspection reports, everything was ready and uploaded to our transaction platform on Propy. So that took about a week. And then when the property was NFT via our company, we minted the token. It's a non-fungible token. We created the token. And then we announced the auction. We had about 40 bids. People were bidding within 24 hours. And the winner got this NFT in his wallet from which he was bidding and paying in Ethereum, in Ether. And when he got, and it's an engineer, software engineer, a millennial in San Francisco, who has never bought a property because he thinks it's very painful. But with NFT, it sounded like it's an easy process, which it was. So he paid, he won the bid, and then he saw in the NFT, he saw a QR code. He went to the QR code, put his real name, his details, and he became the owner of the house within minutes. And this, what can happen to our industry? We don't know for sure. Let's see what Nina thinks, but this can revolutionize the industry and make the process of home buying easy when we just acquiring ownership via our wallets and make the market liquid. Nina, what do you think? Is it feasible?
Well, let me look into my crystal ball.
Yeah, let's do
and
that.
tell you. I mean, it's a great, I definitely see the tokenization of assets, such as real estate assets, as something with great potential. And I mean, what you're doing with Propy is definitely something that, and you know, congratulations on the world's first NFT transaction with property, right? I mean, it's amazing. It's very exciting. I do believe that blockchain has, you know, far-reaching applications across many industries, and we're just scratching the surface of it. It's just in its infancy. I mean, Bitcoin started in 2009, and look where it is today. Imagine where it's going to be in 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And I guess we're really just in the early stages of blockchain and cryptocurrency. I mean, we're really at the beginning of, I guess the best comparison that I could think of is the internet, right? Mm-hmm. Where the internet allows exchange of information between two or more parties. Blockchain allows you to connect with anyone in the world and exchange something of value, right? Yeah. And the question is, how do we tokenize real estate through NFTs, right? And make that something that becomes globally acceptable, right? Mm-hmm. And adopted. And that's where you're going to see many companies try to do that, right? And then there's going to be, you know, a filtering of the winners, right? Kind of like how it happened with the internet, the dot-com boom, right? There were so many different companies that were trying to monetize, right, the internet, and then you had a boom and a bust.
Yeah, a boom and a bust as usual.
You know, the Amazons of the world, and you know, the Expedias of the world, and I do foresee that happening as I look at my crystal ball. I do foresee that happening in many different industries, including the real estate industry.
So I think it's going to be a war. Everybody will want to NFT real estate, and then there will be a winner. And we probably will need about 10 years, just like Bitcoin. It took about 10 years now that everyone wants to have Bitcoin. And I think like probably 60-70% of my friends own Bitcoin. So do you think it will take about 10 years and we will see like all people are just exchanging NFT as their home?
I think so. I mean, I love the fact that that with the tokenization of assets, traditional real estate investment can, it doesn't take a lot of money, and it could be, you know, just anybody can go ahead and participate in that tokenization through blockchain, right? So small investors will have the ability to trade in fractions of a property, whereas today, you know, you have to have a big down payment or you have to have a lot of cash in order to do that. So it kind of it keeps the, the normal, day-to-day person that's, earning $50,000 to $100,000 a year out of being able to invest in a property. And I do believe, kind of like, what's going on with, Coinbase, right? With Coinbase, you don't have to have $46,000 to get a Bitcoin, right? You can invest $100 or $200 and still own a portion of that. I do believe that in the future, the tokenization of assets will be the same when it comes to real estate investing.
Awesome. And I just want to clarify about tokenization. There are two types of tokenization. One type is when we tokenize one asset, and NFT is a token. So we can wrap one asset, its ownership, into an NFT and sell it as a property. So single family home can be transferred into NFT, and then NFT can sell as a whole asset. And then there is tokenization when we do fractional ownership. So once we tokenize and make one property be represented by an NFT, then this NFT can be sharded in pieces and can be tokenized. Now, with tokenization, it's important to mention with fractional ownership that with fractional ownership, SEC regulation is being triggered, and thus each such offering should be registered with SEC, which is, there's nothing scary. It's just, it adds a couple more months of work plus some financial investment in order to fractionalize an NFT representing real estate. But there are a number of startups already doing tokenization of real estate, some successful, some still in very early stage. We in Propy believe that we first have to tokenize as many real estate assets as a whole before we do fractional ownership. But every company is different, so that's the exciting part. Follow tech companies on their social media and just learn what they're up to. Nina, so that's the tokenization, that's the NFT part. Why do you think smart contracts are important? And do you already understand what is a smart contract? How would you explain it to agents?
I think I have a little bit of understanding of it. I think you have much more, but
well, this is why I want to hear it from you, because this webinar is really for beginners.
So the real estate transaction is has a lot of regulation, right? It faces a lot of regulation, and it's so much paperwork. I mean, when I was in the business selling, I mean, a contract had about anywhere from 15 to 30 pages, depending on the transaction, right?
This and then you have your brokerage, right?
Yeah, real estate brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the title, right? Then there's the escrow. Then there's the inspections. So when you know, there's a lot of paperwork that's involved. What I like about the idea of smart contracts is that you compile all the required documents in one single database that everybody can utilize and see simultaneously, right?
Yeah.
And any change within that blockchain needs to be confirmed by every single person that's involved.
Yep.
How'd I do?
Fantastic. Great. Thank you so much. And just to add, the culmination of the smart contract functionality is actually settlement. And about the settlement and the escrow via smart contracts, we're going to have some huge news in November. So everyone who is listening, follow us and just stay tuned for our big news. But the culmination of smart contract is actually executing of the home ownership transfer upon certain terms and certain things that have been done throughout the transaction. Just like Nina mentioned, there are so many documents, so many steps involved. So in the end, the smart contract distributes the funds to the seller and gives the ownership to the buyer. And it happens at the same time, and you don't have to have a manual work. People involved in this settlement and the escrow process, it will be still our vision, it will be still done under supervision of title companies and escrow companies, but the function itself, it will be done by smart contracts. And actually in Propy, we are already doing that. We've transacted over $2 billion in volume in transactions in real estate. We have hundreds and thousands of agents in different states and transactions that are all being processed by blockchain. Some of our agents even don't know that, but that's the whole idea, how we can make blockchain and smart contracts applicable in the industry where you don't have to know the protocol. Just like on internet, you know Amazon, you know how to go to Google and search for information, but you don't know the TCP IP protocol name because you don't need it. The same here, how we can make the process easy, but on the back end, we have this blockchain running.
Plus, you're gonna be able to save once you kind of cut down, you know, on all of that work with all that paperwork and all those intermediaries, right, within the real estate closing. You're going to be able to not only save time, but also save money on fees, right?
Yeah, and this will address affordability problem for many families in America.
Oh yeah, I mean, closing costs. Just the closing costs alone can be a deterrent when it comes to home ownership.
Yeah, because they mostly the down payment is sometimes is just as large as the closing fees. Fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up. Nina, what are your final recommendations for newcomers in the space?
I recommend you go to any of those sites that we recommended, or download, you know, those apps that, you know, whether it's Coinbase or Gemini or any of those different platforms that we recommended. Watch all of your videos. I recommend that.
Propy webinars weekly.
Follow you on Instagram and Facebook. Because I definitely have learned a lot from watching you and seeing, you know, your all the details that you put in within those posts, and just educate yourself as much as possible. YouTube is a great resource as well. You could look up history of blockchain. You can look up tokenization, and also read. Right, there's a lot of books out there now on Audible, on Blinkist if you don't have time, and if you have like. I love Blinkist. 5 to 15 minutes, you can read through a book, right? And so that's another way that I've been learning about it, and then just jump in.
Yeah, it's a great advice. The books I would recommend, one is Sovereign Individual. There is no single word about blockchain and cryptocurrency, but it literally talks about blockchain and cryptocurrency. It was written in 2097, but it really explains how we go through the tribe communities and civilization to the information age, and how everything will be governed by cyber. The author calls it cyber protocols and cyber money. So it's an exciting book, kind of to understand the fundamental of what's going on now in the crypto industry. The other one is Bitcoin Standard. A really great book for those who already kind of you know, have the coins already and started to understand the implications, and also Blockchain Revolution by Don Tapscott. I think it also gives a lot of early stage applications of blockchain.
That's great. I'm going to check that one out. I haven't read that one. Blockchain Revolution.
Yep. Nina, thank you so much for your participation. It was amazing. And I think we gave great first tips and recommendations for those who are willing to start learning about crypto and blockchain. Agents who are watching us, it's a fascinating space. Get there. If you're still not, just do practical things like getting a few dollars of Bitcoin and different coins. We are working, and Nina also is advising on how we can utilize tokens, cryptocurrencies, to reward agents for certain positive behavior. Nina, do you want to share anything, like how do you think agents could be incentivized by cryptocurrencies?
I think gamifying the tokenization of cryptocurrencies is something that is very exciting. So, for example, if you go into, let's say, Propy, right, and you take a 30-second course about smart contracts, you get 3 property tokens, right? Or you go ahead and you make a referral to a client or another agent, you win some Propy coins. And so building that up, right, that portfolio of coins through education and referrals, I think is one way to incentivize people.
Fantastic. Well, we're looking forward to hear your comments, your feedback about these ideas, and we'll be covering this more in the upcoming weeks. Nina, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.